Sean from Voice from the Dirt Road. Glad to be back. I know last week we were off. I hope that everybody had a great 4th of July, got a chance to spend some time with some family. I know Colin and I, we got a chance to get out of town and spend some time with our son and his wife. With that, today's show, we're going to take some time to take us back to the stool. And from looking at the stool that we orient the entire show around, I want to walk you through what is going on in agriculture. Believe it or not, it is a lot that's actually going on in agriculture. So let's just jump right in. If you have questions, please let me know, and we'll kind of go from there. So as y'all guys know, this show is built around this particular stool that you see there on the screen. Before I even talk about the stool itself, let me just mention that red clay dirt road is a throwback to where I'm from, Early County, Blakely, Georgia. My family was raised on a dirt road, and I'm proud to say it's still a dirt road today. And I always go back there to humble myself and actually just say, you know what, you always got to remember where you're from as you're moving through your life. But with that being said, as you look at the stool here, we're going to talk about passing the farm bill. So I'm going to give you some information on where we're at on the farm bill. I'm going to talk about what's going on in the world of livestock, what's going on in the world of row crops, also what's going on in forestry, and then ultimately, how is the USDA helping us across the board? So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. You will see me kind of look down here and there because I have some notes. I'm not going to read the notes, but I want to make sure that you clearly understand that I'm looking over one or two times at the notes. The key thing is right now, let me just give you a quick little update on the farm bill. Because, like I said at the beginning of the show, the key piece is getting the farm bill passed. Right now, the farm bill is trying to make its way through committee. The last time we actually had a farm bill, you heard me say this many, many times, was 2018. It's supposed to be renewed every 5 years. Obviously, we're well past those 5 years. But the good news is that the House passed the version on April 30th, but now is inside of the Senate Ag Committee, and it has moved now on to markup. So the key piece there is that it has worked its way into the Senate Ag Committee, but on top of that, now it has moved out to markup. When it's out there markup, that's when people can look at it, take some time to digest it, all those kind of things. As you see here on the screen, and we will post these slides so that you have a better understanding how these bills or how this particular bill is working its way through. But right now it's in the Senate markup, and then hopefully when it comes out of that in a timely manner, it'll go back to the Senate floor, go back to committee, and if everything works out right between the Senate and the House, it'll go to the president. With all of those things being said, I just think I should probably let you know now that the House and the Senate will be going back to D.C. on Monday the 13th. They're only there for a few weeks, and then they come back home again. And then shortly after that, they go back, and pretty much most of August, they're off. So really, in order to get this farm bill done, we need to actually get it done here in these 2 weeks when they go back. One of the things, I know this is a lot that I have on the screen right now, is I wanted to make sure that after the show, now this is after the show, that if you want to dig into it and get a better understanding what is actually in the farm bill and all of those things, will you back up a little bit, Shelly? Take me back to the farm bill overview. If you wanted to get a little bit into the farm bill itself, into the details, and I know a lot of people love to get into the details, what I've done is actually taken it. We will post it on our page to this particular platform, so that you can actually read it for yourself and get a better understanding what is actually going on with the farm bill, what is going on, but on top of that, where we're at in the process. So that's what these next few slides that you see is talking all about, is to ensure that you clearly understand what is in the Farm Bill 2.0, and then on top of that, potentially what is not. in the Farm Bill 2.0. So with that being said, when I say what's not in the Farm Bill, after studying what's going on, I would want to ask you, as a farmer, as somebody who's concerned about the environment, somebody that is concerned about the food that you eat, I would say these are the things. First of all, pick up the phone, call your senator or call your representative and say, hey, I just want to make sure you're aware that I'm tracking that things are happening in the Senate Agriculture Committee. This is the direct number there that you can call. And my recommendations, you don't have to do it, but my recommendations that I would encourage you to mention to them, you don't have to mention them all, but whatever one is your passion is one, protect the SNAP program. As y'all guys remember a few months ago, almost feels like a year ago now, we had a situation where the SNAP program was being under attack. A lot of things have been cut. So we need to figure out how can we get that back for our least fortunate. And that least fortunate is our seniors and our less fortunate children. How can we protect that SNAP? On top of that, strengthening crop insurance. I know my row crop brothers and sisters are always concerned with that. On top of that, we are too, because we actually have our pastors out here. And then in my area, strengthening livestock and the health and welfare of those programs, especially right now with the screwworm. And I'm going to talk about the screwworm later on in the show, but especially with the screwworm response that we're dealing with. I think we need to make sure that we take care of it right now, but we also need to continue to build for the future so that we don't get caught flat-footed out here. And then at the same time, you hear me talk about this all the time. We need to make sure that we can expand rural mental health care across the board because our farmers across the board are struggling. So that's the key for me, that's the call for action. This slide will also be posted everywhere. And I encourage you to start making those phone calls. Even though the senator may not be there, that does not mean his or her staff is not there. So you can start making that phone call today when it comes to call to action. But just keep in mind, they will be back on Monday. Please don't wait too long, because I'm confident that when they get back, they're going to actually get laser focused on this. Now, what I don't know is the president has said that he wants the SAVE Act actually taken care of first. So I'm not 100% sure. Will the Farm Bill make it out, or will they make some kind of compromise and get the Farm Bill done, get it to the president, get it signed, or what? That's politics. We're not going to get into politics, but I just want to make you aware. Please, please, please take up the phone, make that phone call, and whatever one of those things you want to push that's in your interest, please make that phone call. Now let's move over into the row crop side of the house of this situation. On the row crop side, let me get myself back oriented. I moved the button a little bit too fast. Well, let me back up. Apparently, I moved everything too fast, and probably Shelly behind the scenes is saying, "What are you doing?" So let me step back here. I talked about the full stool. Let me step back and talk about. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all the people that are following me this early in the morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But let's jump back into it. Back on the row crop, we talked about, or we need to talk about fertilizer, hay, and the drought. So let me talk a little bit about that. and right now, as y'all guys can see, here is a situation where I think everybody's been tracking that farmers are struggling when it comes to trying to buy fertilizer with the war that was going on, with the war that's currently still going on with Iran, the Strait of Hormuz being closed, prices going up. Farmers already have crops in the field and all those kind of things. But now farmers are actually saying, hey, what is going to be the prices for next year? Or do we need to continue to buy some things? So right now, farmers across the board have been surveyed, and they're actually saying one of the number one things that are actually hurting them on the farm is the price of fertilizer, and we need to actually get our hands around it. With that being said, USDA is trying to put some things in place that we're not so dependent on other programs or other countries around the world. And I'm proud to say that we are in the first time in a very long time to actually make the announcement July 1st. So just a few weeks ago, that we're actually starting to try to expand our domestic fertilizer process, and farmers, you can pick up the phone, or people can pick up the phone and actually start applying. Applications are open throughout August 17th. So, but as we get more information on this program, we will talk about it. We will post it everywhere. But I would be remiss if I didn't actually take the time and at least mention it to you, because that, I think that's a good thing, is that we're actually taking the time to say, okay, we need to become less dependent on foreign fertilizer production, and how can we produce it here in the United States. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that we're not going to have to get fertilizer or pieces of the fertilizer process from overseas, but it is a good thing that we're moving in the right direction, so that if we ever get in another crisis like we are right now, we're not just caught out there in the hurt locker. So that's where we are on fertilizer. I would tell you one of my largest expenses this year was fertilizer. When I put it out on my pastures, and in addition to that, it was painful, and I think it's probably going to be painful again next year, because as of yesterday, the war with Iran kind of kicked up again. So we'll see how they have to play out. But on top of all of that, I'm happy that the fertilizer that I put out there actually is making my pastures produce grass. We have got some rain, but we don't have that much rain. But before I get to talking about rain and all those kind of things, let me talk about on my farm. I think y'all guys know, my farm is the typical, I would say the typical cattle farm is roughly about somewhere between 40 to 60 head of cattle. So it's not a very large operation, but it is a operation that helps feed the food chain of food the people of the United States in our region. However, with that being said, my farm is not big enough for me to justify having hay equipment and all those kind of things. So every year I actually purchase hay from another local farmer that's right here in the community. Farmers helping farmers, but I purchase hay, and based on that, we actually just had our hay delivered yesterday and the day before. I finished it up yesterday, putting it up right before a major rainstorm came in, and that is me out there being a daredevil, climbing on top of the hay. So I'm proud to say that we are now prepared for the winter, or at least I think we prepared for the winter. Last year, I ordered my hay. The hay was awesome, but I ended up coming 4 rows short, and I ended up having to buy some hay from my neighbor to just get me over the hump. But this year, I think I actually did the math right. And as long as the winter doesn't get too crazy, we should have enough hay to get us through the winter. Because here on my farm, we actually rotational graze. So we try to keep the grasses growing. But the key thing I want to just pass on to our friends that watch this show from the city is that farmers in the middle of the summer, and it is hot in Georgia. It is hot in Georgia. But in the middle of the summer, instead of us talking about how hot it is, we are preparing for the winters. We're always looking ahead. And that's why all these things I'm talking about, fertilizer, I'm talking about the farm bill, I'm talking about all those things. Farmers, in order for us to be successful, we constantly have to look forward and plan for those things that are going to happen in the future. So I'm happy to say the last few days, we've been working very hard over here, and we actually finally got our hay in place and ready for the summer. Hey, if you look on the screen there, you'll see a Q code. That Q code is for our Facebook page. Please take your time, put your phone up to it, and come and visit us. Many of the things that you see that's on this page today, will be posted over there so that you can get it, pass it on to your friends, ask people to come and visit the website. What we're trying to do is to create a situation where if you want to know something about agriculture or whatever, then this is the spot that you can come, get it quick, and move on. So and just click follow. Please click follow. We're trying to build the page. It's already a lot of people that follow me in other capacities. But this capacity, Sean, just the regular guy. Yes, I spent some time in the military, but now this is just Sean the farmer. I want you to follow me here because at the end of the day, this is something I'll probably be doing for the rest of my life, where trying to get information out to the agricultural community and also trying to get information out to the urban community of what's going on in agriculture and giving it to you in a very concise way, but at the same time, becoming somebody that will fight for farmers across the board, no matter what the capacity that's actually occurring out there. So that's me up there. The backstory to that particular video is last year, I actually stacked that hay 6 or 7 feet high, or 6 or 7 stories high there. And when I got up on top, I realized I was about 60 feet off the ground and nobody was here at the house. So I called my wife. She was in the house and said, "Hey, I'm about to put this tarp on the hay. Can you come out and just watch, just in case if I fall or fall in between some of the gaps, somebody knows where I'm at." And I had no clue that she was filming that and taking pictures. She says some days I do some pretty crazy stuff, but that's okay. That's farm life. All right. You know, I mentioned that we got a little bit of rain yesterday. But let me just pivot a little bit. We got some rain and we have been getting rain, but we have now got into a pattern that we get a stray shower here and there. I think the next couple of days here in Georgia, I'm not sure about other places, we should be getting some rain. However, we are still in a drought situation. We have improved since the last time, because I think the last time I talked about the drought, we were in a D2 or D3, which is a extreme drought. But now we have moved, at least here in Northwest Georgia, we'll move back to a D0. However, when you actually outside, you can still see that is some stress that's on the grass or some stress that's on your plants, on your crops across the board. So we hope and pray that we continue to get some more rain this time of year here. As a farmer, we pray for the rain because we want the grass, but we also want to have like a 3-day window so that we can actually cut the grass, create some hay, and kind of go from there. But at the same time, for our row crop brothers and sisters, we want to make sure that you get enough rain that your crops actually grow. And then on our forestry side, we want to also make sure that we get enough rain that we don't get a forest fire and things get completely out of control. Like I said, we had a lot to talk about today, which is great, because in the world of agriculture, it is very busy, and a lot of times it just flies right over people's head and they don't even know what's happening. Another key thing that's actually happening, and it's working in the world of forestry. And remember, I'm talking about that stool. Shelly, you can throw the stool back up just one more time. I've just moved over to forestry. And in the world of forestry, we got some exciting things happening. In the world of forestry, we have just started the process of mining for some key minerals and different things that we need to address some security issues that we have at strategic level. But at the same time, Shelly, before I get to talking too much, can you just go on and play the video, please?
At South 32's Hermosa mine outside of Patagonia, construction is about 40% complete for the mine, which looks to produce 2 critical materials the company says are necessary for national security and our future energy needs. Hermosa President Pat Reisner says the U.S. has a problem.
All of the battery-grade manganese in the world at the moment comes from China. and we only mine about 5 to 6% of the zinc in the world.
At a time of increasing need,
But what we're seeing over the next less than 10 years is a 4 million ton per year gap between global zinc supply and demand developing. And to close that gap, you'd have to develop 3 projects the size of Hermosa every year.
putting the United States at a disadvantage globally.
These are critical mineral supply chains where we have national security risks because of our over-reliance on foreign supply. And this project can change that for both zinc and manganese.
But with the Hermosa mine located in the Sky Islands, one of the most biodiverse places on Earth, Salt 32 also has to consider the environmental impact.
But we set out in the early days to make this a very different kind of mine, particularly from a sustainability standpoint. So we've designed an underground mine that will only disturb about 750 acres for up to 70 years of mining. To put that into context, your typical other mines are in the thousands or tens of thousands of acres of disturbance.
With the goal of being a community partner.
Where we're at with the mining industry today, just getting your permits from a state agency or a federal agency is not enough. We have to continue to work to secure what we call a social license to operate, and that's really about gaining acceptance from your community and your stakeholders.
Reporting from the Hermosa mine outside of Patagonia, Joel Foster, KGUN 9.
Okay, key piece here is I want to be clear. I'm glad that we actually mine it. I'm also glad to hear that we're doing it in a environmental smart way, and they working hand in hand with the community. This is actually happening. If you don't know, this is actually happening out in Arizona. What I would just say is this. It is good that we're actually starting to do some things here in the United States that we don't depend so much on other countries around the world. However, these things are being now done inside of some of our national parks or government land. I'll just leave it at that level. And as we do it, I think we need to make sure that we continue to do it in an environmental responsible way. So we will take some time and do more in-depth reporting on this, but like I said, it's out there in Arizona. The key piece here is using federal land, but it's not at a national park. But again, it's still a federal land. But I would actually say to you, keep your eyeballs on it. We need to do it, but on the flip side of the coin, we need to do it in an environmental responsible way. Okay. But again, in the world of agriculture, we continuously move. We talked about trying to bring some production back here to the United States when it comes to fertilizer. Now I just talked about some key things like zinc and other things that are strategic to what we try to do in other areas. And we now starting to do that mining here in the United States. So more to follow on that. And when I say more to follow on that, we will come back here in a few months and do an in-depth discussion on exactly where we're at. And then on top of that, if we do it in Arizona or we doing it anywhere else here in the United States. Now let's move over to livestock. As y'all guys know, livestock is the area of that stool that I work in today. In the world of livestock, the thing that's dominating the conversation is the screwworm. The screwworm, and let me just let you know right off the top, we have now 32 cases. The key piece of that 32 cases, as you can see there on the screen, it is still, and this is the good part, which is also a bad part, but it is still in Texas and New Mexico. That's kind of where it started, but at the same time, that's where it's kind of still at. That means it's not contained, but it's not spreading all over the United States. So I know here in Georgia, we're actually doing some things from our agriculture point of view, which I think we need to continue to do. But on the flip side of the coin, the key piece here, it has not actually moved any further. And this is as of July 6th. I think we just need to continue to be vigilant in what we do. I go out every day and I check my cows for screwworm larvae, which I know they probably not going to have it. But on top of that, what I would tell you, I actually now spray my cows with the fly to kill the flies a lot more, because I don't want to make sure that we don't have a case that I'm not on top of. But I think I have a video that talks a little bit about the screwworm, but exactly what were the federal government doing about the screwworm?
Radiated pupa from Panama. They can't reproduce. That's what the pupa is here for, to become the sterile fly. Right now we have a weekly schedule of 40 liters.
Each liter of pupa will be roughly 7,500 to a little bit more than 8,000 pupa. We start with dyeing and giving that pigment that is going to tell us whether it's a sterile fly.
If we capture them in the wild, then we can see if they are the sterile flies or they are the real flies. In the emergence room, you bring them in there so they can evolve from the pupa stage to a full fly.
Then the towers are moved to the cold room so that we can break the flies into a lethargic or a dorm stage ready for dispersal. For now, we're using the dispersal truck. The plan for the future, of course, we're going to be doing aerial dispersal. It's a constant release, so we're trying not to cause damage to the insect. They start falling into these augers, and then they get blown out through the pipe that comes out of the ground release truck. The way we're doing it right now, we're dispersing between 36 to 38 years of flies, which come out roughly to 250,000 flies. For every one fertile fly, we want to see at least 10 sterile flies that we're releasing.
As you can see there, science is so cool. We using sterile flies to kill other flies. And we'll take some time. I'm not sure if people were tracking that, but we'll take some time in the future and get real into depth of exactly the science in behind it and what they're doing every day down there in Texas and actually New Mexico to battle this. In addition to that, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, we're in the process of building a plant, but that plant would not to address the screw fly problem, but that plant won't be ready until 2027. But at least I can say is we're actually getting at it, and it looks like it's staying contained out there. Let me just pivot real quick because I don't want to hold you too long this morning, but I do want to talk about the status of the cattle herd here in the great state of, not the great state of Georgia, but out the whole entire United States. You heard me say it many, many times before. In the world of cattle, we're making money. I'm going to go and tell you that off the top. From the producer point of view, if you take a cow to the market and sell it, you're going to make pretty good money. If you're doing farm to table, if you can find somewhere to get it processed, that is an issue. If you can find a place to get it processed, USDA processed, then you can probably make some money farm to table. And some of these things are being addressed. But the biggest problem that we're running into as far as the United States is this herd that we have. When I say the herd, I'm talking about all the cattle throughout the United States, mine, my neighbors, and everybody else's. Who cares if you have 1,000 head of cattle or 2 cows? That's all part of the herd. In that, this is the lowest level of cattle that we actually had in the United States for the past 50 years. That's why we're in what we call a supply and demand situation. It's more cows than we actually, it's less cows than what we actually need. With that being said, the federal government has been encouraging us as producers to actually grow the herd. And when I say grow the herd, that's actually taking all of the female calves, which are called heifers, and actually keeping those cows back and then growing them for the next 2 years, and then they can become mama cows and start having calves. One of the things I probably should make sure that everybody understands in the world of agriculture or cattle production, this growing the herd is not going to happen overnight. That simply means we're talking 2 or 3 or 4 years before we can grow this herd back. But because there's so much money to sell that calf when it's small and put into meat production, is we're struggling trying to grow the herd. My neighbor came up the other day. I was in the backyard. I had no clue that he took this picture, but I was in the back. I just finished feeding some of our heifer calves back there. They're in our heifer development program. That heifer development program is exactly what I was just talking to you about. Is keeping those heifers back, growing them out for the next 2 years, and then adding them to the herd. And I just finished feeding them, and I sat down on the bucket. I guess I was having a team meeting with them, and my neighbor walked up and took that picture. So I thought that was pretty cool that he took that picture. And it looks like the heifers are paying attention to me, and they're getting bigger every day. And I think earlier in the show, throughout the backside of the house, I think I can hear them out there saying, "Hey, where you at? It's almost 7 o'clock. It's time for us to eat this morning." So that's what's going on in the world of with the herd. We still got a lot of work to do to grow this thing, but we'll see. And then lastly, this morning, I just want to talk very quickly about the world of poultry. In the world of poultry, we had a problem. I'm not sure if everybody was tracking it, but we had a couple of industry companies that was cheating. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They took a crisis that we had a few years ago where we had a bird flu situation and got in front of it and made it seem like eggs were missing or was a shortage. And then from that, played with the numbers to make egg prices go up. But the good thing is legal figured it out and have charged them, and now they got to pay. But with that, Shelly, please just play the video so that people can touch on it, and then we'll talk about it in later episodes.
Remember when egg prices spiked last year? Turns out it wasn't inflation. 3 major egg producers, Cal-Maine Foods, and Hickman's Egg Ranch, have reached a $3.3 million settlement with the Justice Department in 17 states. Officials accused them of a secret arrangement to artificially inflate daily egg prices between 2022 and 2025. An investigation revealed that the companies coordinated a bidding scheme to manipulate the national index that controls what grocery stores and restaurants pay for billions of eggs. By allegedly rigging the data, they directly drove up wholesale costs, forcing grocery stores, restaurants, and everyday consumers to pay the price. Average U.S. egg prices soared to a record high of about $6.23 per dozen in March 2025. Egg producers blamed a severe bird flu outbreak that forced farmers to slaughter millions of egg-laying chickens for the skyrocketing prices. But critics accused the corporate giants of weaponizing their market dominance to gouge consumers, triggering a government investigation. Under the deal, none of the companies admitted wrongdoing. However, to settle the state's claims, the egg producers will be on the hook for $3.3 million and 53 million eggs. The money will be distributed to the states and the eggs donated to nonprofits and food banks. The settlements still need court approval. The Justice Department said Tuesday that the proposed settlements, quote, resolve years of conduct that dragged on Americans' finances and their everyday lives.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that this was caught. I wish in there where it talks about the 53 million eggs that's going to be given to organizations, food pantries, and all those kind of things. I wish that they would have put in there, not only are they going to have to give that many eggs, but they're going to do that for the next 10 years to ensure that our less fortunate always have supply of fresh eggs. But, you know, at the end of the day, we will follow this very closely, see how it plays out. But I'm always amazed that when you get a settlement, the company doesn't have to say that they did anything wrong. They can kind of buy their way out of it and then kind of hide things. I know it's been a lot this morning, but I do want to just say thank you to roughly, when I look at the screen here, it looks like it's about 355 people that are actually watching us this morning. That is awesome. That you would get up, spend your time with us, then talk about agriculture. That tells me that a significant amount of people out there, not just farmers or not just people in the rural community, but it's people out there that are truly interested in what's going on in the world of farming, because guess what? Farming is going to touch you every day. It's going to come to your kitchen table, like it or not. And if it don't come, you'll definitely know that something has went on. So it's better to have a very good understanding of what's going on that's actually happening out there. With that being said, I know I covered a lot. I ask you to like and follow our page, tell your buddies about it and all those kind of things. But I also want to let you know, you saw where I was up on top of that hay yesterday. Farming is a very dangerous business. Many farmers get hurt, or workers on a farm get hurt. So we need to make sure we always thinking about safety. Right now, we in many parts of the country, we're in a what I think they call it a heat dome or something, a heat bubble. I'm not sure what they're calling it, but at the end of the day, it's very, very hot outside. So please drink a lot of water, take some breaks, think about all the things to make sure that you're going to be here with us tomorrow. And then ultimately, farmers are always stressed trying to make the ends meet. So I would ask you, if a farmer's out there struggling, like I say every week, pick up the phone, call 988. It was somebody on that line that's a professional that will help you get from today to tomorrow. And we need to make sure that you're going to be here with us tomorrow. And so please, as y'all guys know, I talk about it all the time. Here in the rural community, we really just don't have mental health services. There's no other way that I can actually put it. So we need to figure out how can we get more mental health services for our farmers and our veterans and everybody else. But on top of that, until we get that, please, if you have a family member, a farmer, or somebody that's in a crisis, please have them call that 988. And because we need them today, we need them tomorrow and the day after that. So don't make a long-term decision for a short-term problem. So that's kind of how I couch it. Hey guys, it's 7:35. I tried to do it 7:36. I tried to do it in 30 minutes. I got a little bit of a cold. So thank you, Shelly, for the videos to help me get through the hump. But right now, I just want to say thank you. It's 380 people following this show right now this morning. So first of all, thank you to everybody. And on top of that, guys, as you know, when the cup is empty, we're done. Have a great day.